Welcome to the Holistic Success Show. I'm Elizabeth Lozano.
And I'm Dr. Robert Puff. Today we're going to have a fitness guru talking about how to be holistically healthy with fitness.
We're also going to be watching clips from Dr. Puff on meditation.
And then we're going to have an interview question about how to deal with pain and live with that.
We're also going to be answering another question about emotional eating and how to deal with that.
Thanks for being here.
Thank you, and enjoy the show.
Today I want to talk about something very fascinating that was recently discovered with meditation. Researchers have known for many, many years that as we get older, our brains get smaller, we lose our capacity to think clearly. And as you know, as many people as they get older, they may get Alzheimer's, dementia, and basically our mental functioning decreases. Now what's been recently discovered is we've looked at people that have been meditating for many, many years. And guess what we discovered? It's just fascinating. I love this. What they discovered is that people that meditate appear to have larger brains. And what I mean by that is we all know as we get older, our bodies start slowing down and we become weaker, not as vibrant as we were when we were a young child or a teenager. Well, our brain really works the same way. As we get older, our brain capacity, it still functions, but it doesn't function as well. Our brains, we actually lose gray matter as we get older. Our brains become not as healthy, as vibrant. But people that have been meditating for many, many, many years, that seems to almost abate. They don't lose their mental capacity. And their brain, particularly the front part of the brain, which really is affected by meditation, really keeps working and keeps active. So the wonderful thing about that, there's a lot you can extrapolate from that. But I think at its core, you can say, wow, meditation is good for my brain. It keeps me healthy, it keeps me alert. And I think a lot of people out there, my mother, got Alzheimer's as she got older. And I'm sure many of you fear that. And it runs, many people get dementia, they start forgetting things, and we get afraid of that. But now that the research is beginning to show that meditation is really a good practice for our brain, it keeps our brains alert, it keeps our brains active. Think about meditating as becoming part of your routine. Because people that meditate, their brains stay healthy, their brains stay active. And we can look at them and say, wow, you've been meditating, your brain looks very different than someone else who hasn't been meditating. So meditation is good medicine, good exercise for the brain. And if you want to have a healthy brain, if you want to have an active brain throughout your life, think about taking on meditation. It's really good for us.
This week's first question comes to us from Tanya G. from Chicago, Illinois, and she asks, I often find myself struggling with physical pain. What are your suggestions for pain management?
First, Tanya, I'm very sorry that you are struggling with pain. My heart goes out to you. It's a difficult thing to have to face and live with. And whether you're living with it for a day, a week, or a year, many people are going through what you're going through. So I'm hopeful that these answers that we give right now will be helpful for the listeners. The first thing you want to do is, make sure you're seeking medical advice. Can you alleviate the pain? Are there things that you can do to make it better? And then the next thing you want to do is learn about deep breathing. Because, what deep breathing does, think about when a woman that has a baby, they learn Lamaze. What do? They learn. It's amazing how well that works, as you know, I really enjoy it. I think meditation is a fabulous practice. So if you learn how to deep breathe, what you'll find is the pain gets better. And if I may share my own story, one time I was at a parking lot and I closed my door to my car and my thumb got stuck in the door, in between when it closed, and you can imagine how much that hurt. And it was an excruciating pain. I opened the door to get my thumb out. I hadn't broken anything, but I did this. I did that 2-3 times, and the pain was pretty much gone. So, what helps is, I think, learning how to keep your body fit makes the pain not as intense. When your body's fit, what happens is, let's say you exercise on a regular basis, you're releasing in your body what's called endorphins. And endorphins are natural painkillers. They really are good to help reduce the pain sensitivity. People that are really athletes tend to have a higher tolerance to pain. So if you take time to exercise, what you'll find is that will help alleviate the pain, and it will actually be better. It just isn't as intense. But probably the most important thing you can do is what I call not create a story. And what I mean by that first is, what you want to do is, you want to, when something's going on, there's always something you can focus on. Your mind really can only focus on one thing at a time. So let's say right now you're watching the show. Your pain actually may be better because you're watching the show. You're not thinking about the pain. And so there's always something. I love this, the saying I have is, there's always something beautiful to focus on. So choose to focus on something that isn't the pain. And what you'll find is it will get better and it will dissipate. And part of that is not create a story. I want Elizabeth to talk about how you create a story and it makes it worse or better.
So in my own life, unfortunately, I had a back injury, and it was awful, excruciating pain. And I remember going to the doctor, and first I got stuck in the middle of my stairs. I couldn't walk, I couldn't move. I was like dropped to the floor in just horrific pain. And I went to the doctor, and they gave me muscle relaxers and Vicodin, right? So I'm taking this medicine, not making a difference at all. Like, I'm just in horrific pain. And for a while, there was a couple weeks where I was just in this excruciating pain in bed. I could not walk, I could not sit up, I couldn't even make it to the bathroom. I would literally have to crawl or have to get help to go to the bathroom because it was so awful. And in that time, I got really depressed, because to me in my head, I was like, my life is over. I can't dance, I can't walk, I can't even be in a wheelchair because I can't even sit up. I'm never gonna be able to have kids. I had all this stuff going through my head, and it made my pain way worse, because that's all I could focus on, was that not only am I in this pain, I'm gonna have it forever and my life is over. And that's the kind of story that Dr. Puff is talking about, because when you create that, how much more intense is that pain? Because now it's not just physical, it's psychological. And what goes on in here, our body and mind are so interconnected. And this pain that goes on here and here can cause way more physical pain. And really our fight to kind of get past it is really diminished. Fortunately, I was able to get help to deal with the pain, and there are things that I have to do. Sometimes I do have pain, but I have to kind of work through it, and I can't focus on it. So if I do focus on it, it makes it way worse. But I think what Dr. Puff was saying too, finding out what the root cause is, because pain is there to let you know that something isn't right. And obviously if you're giving birth to a child, that's the reason why you're having pain, but they work through it. It's focusing on your breath instead that helps you kind of through that. But if you're in pain, get help, figure out what's going on with that. Find a way to deal with that, because sitting there in pain and dealing with that, living that way is awful. And we're just trying to teach you other ways to kind of deal with it instead of just focusing on it.
And one last point I wanted to make too is, there's that rule I've talked about in other episodes, a rule of science saying, if there's a person on the planet that is able to have pain and still be happy, just one, that means it's a possibility. So there are people, I've known them, I have personally known them, that have lots of pain and they probably will have it the rest of their life, and yet they are happy. And they've been able to say, pain is just part. Remember the holistic, pain is just part of who I am. That is not who I am. And the other things, my family, my relationships, my work, whatever other things that are going on in your life, can really enrich your life. And if that's more of the focus and not that little segment of the pain, it really works well to find balance, even if you have to live with pain the rest of your life, because there are people out there that live with pain and still can find happiness and peace. So peace to you.